We are on chapter 54. I'm currently in my room here in Samoa at Stevenson's in Savaii, and I was like going through my TikTok, and so many people have tagged me in videos of other people doing something similar. But anyway, here we go. This goes back to April of 2006 in a small town in the South Island of New Zealand. I was there to attend a funeral of one of my high school friends. I pulled into a gas station to fuel up. Right next to me on the other side was a cop car. We both made eye contact and I smiled and went in to pay for my fuel. On my way out, this beautiful cop was at my car. I was confused to why there was a cop standing by my car. I said hello and asked if everything was okay. He said everything was fine and if I was around from there. I said no, I wasn't. I'm only in town for a funeral. I then find out he knows the father of my old high school friend and he was heading to the same funeral also. As I was hopping into my car, the cop informs me that the road up to the marae is blocked off, so all cars have to be parked by the main road and walk up the long gravel driveway. As he was on duty to patrol the funeral, he could give me a ride up to the marae and leave my car at the bottom. I'm sure he could. Well, this is where it all went wrong. I parked my car, I hopped into the police car, and FML, he had no ofuwai on. His undies were halfway down his visor and the bad thing was staring at me. Just... Of course I had to. I wasn't going to let an opportunity pass. I completely missed the entire service and the burial of my high school friend. Oh, bro. I continued to see him and I took him on trips with me when I traveled for work, and I also put him on my staff travel. 9 months later, I got a call from one of my colleagues informing me he was on her flight with his girlfriend to Rarotonga, so I cancelled his return flight. I removed him from my staff travel and I sent his girlfriend a picture of him saki my pee with an apology that I had no idea he was taken. So you're a male. Next one. I'm a 28-year-old male born in Samoa and raised in New Zealand, now living in Australia. Oka. I was adopted by my parents when I was young and they only ever had 2 biological kids. My parents were the type who fell easily for things, and in this case, pyramid schemes were one they thought would make quick money but never did. Oh my gosh, I remember those. Tremor was a pyramid scheme. Don't get caught in it, guys. And that's where I met my girlfriend at the time. Let's call her Lala. The only time I got to see this girl was when we met at my house when my parents held the pyramid scheme meetings. I come from a strict background with my parents where I never got to see my paycheck or have my own bank card. I wasn't even allowed friends. What? Okay, Harry Potter. I only had to go to church and work, which was on the roads for Higgins. What? Why would you out yourself like that? Higgins. Then come straight home and do for hours and get out of everyone's way. Bear in mind, at the time I was 23 years old. Lala was also the same, being the oldest daughter to a Samoan family, though she had more freedom than me and she could drive and I couldn't. At the time, Lala was studying and we used to meet up and do the bad things in between her study breaks. I wasn't looking for anything serious. I just needed to get out of my situation at home because being adopted from a Samoan family looks different than if you were the actual child. So I had to play this girl to get what I want. Play her? Lala had the biggest heart and I knew it didn't take much to get what I wanted out of her. I just want to bore you right now. Every time we met, we did the bad things, and I even took her to my old college in MC in Porirua and did the bad things there too. I have a feeling people are going to know who you are. She paid for everything, and I mean everything. My rugby fees for Norths, food, my clothes, my alcohol after games. I was living like a king until the day she tells me she's pregnant. My bolos fell out of my ass and I was so scared because no one knew I even had a girlfriend, let alone it was my parents' business partner's daughters for Tremor, the pyramid scheme. After a while, I wasn't happy about the situation and accepted it till little down the line we lost the baby. And for some reason, I was a bit destroyed because I thought that was my get me out card from my controlling family. Yo, what? Your get me out card? Get me out of the story right now. Since no one knew and our time was spent more on the phone together and sleeping on the phone till the next morning, I wanted to still take advantage of her weakness to get out of my family dynamic. Wow. I messaged my auntie in Australia and told her my situation. At that time, my mum hated my auntie in Sydney and they weren't talking, so I made sure to use that to my advantage. I spoke with Lala and made up a whole fairy tale lie to her and promised her the world, and behind my family's back, she did my New Zealand passport and paid for it, did my resignation letter for work, handled my payout into her bank account, and paid for my flight out of Wellington. While she was in New Zealand, I was setting myself up. My auntie set me up with a job and I worked for a bit, but things started to go downhill when Lala wanted to move over just a week before my birthday, because what she didn't know was I already moved on with somebody else from work. She eventually moves over to Australia here in Ropes Crossing. Bro, somebody is going to tell me this guy's name soon. We stayed with my auntie and her 4 kids and husband. While we were living together, I still cheated on her and enjoyed the freedom I never got to have back at home. I just couldn't stand Lala anymore and started having problems. One day she got a phone call that her best mate's baby had passed, and I convinced her to go be there for it. Once she left the country, I blocked her, continued my relationship with my current partner now. Probably not the ending everyone hoped for, but if you read this and it sounds familiar and you know you're in this situation, leave. Because us guys come up with no good. I can already sense and smell Auntie Kama coming for your polos, okay?